I've been harassed for 7 years and I only just realized it. Looking back, it really started in 2017, even though back then I had no idea what I was getting into. At that time, I was in a relationship with a girl who was 2 years older than me. From the very beginning, there were a lot of red flags, but I was in love and did what most people hasten pretend not to see them. Sometimes she would show up so drunk she couldn't even remember what we'd talked about 5 minutes earlier. She would loop the same story again and again, asking the same questions, forgetting entire conversations. On top of that, she was extremely insecure. Her mom, a woman in her late 40s who treated her own partner terribly, spent a lot of time putting nonsense in her head. He's going to leave you for someone younger. Men are all the same. Don't trust him. Meanwhile, my life was very simple and boring. I got up early, went to work, came back, saw her, went home, slept, and repeated the cycle the next day. I wasn't out partying, I wasn't disappearing, I wasn't cheating, but none of that seemed to matter. Her mother just didn't like me, and that was enough. The atmosphere in their house was always tense. Every time I went there, I could feel this heavy energy, like I wasn't welcome. I honestly hated being in that house. With time, the arguments became constant. We weren't fighting about things I did, but about things her mother imagined I would do. I got tired of it. One day I finally decided to have a serious conversation with my girlfriend. I told her something like, "This relationship is between you and me, not you, me, and your mom. If you don't trust me and you let her control your thoughts like this, someone who can't even manage her own marriage, I'm going to walk away. I can't keep carrying blame that doesn't belong to me." Her reaction was not what I expected. Instead of wanting to talk things through or reflect, she booked a therapy appointment for me. According to her, I was the one who had issues and needed help. Even then, I still wanted to work things out. I asked for permission at work to leave early that day so we could talk calmly. She knew I was doing that. When I got out, I called her to see where she was. She told me she was with a friend just one street away and that if I waited on a corner, we could meet and talk. I agreed, thinking, okay, we'll finally have a mature conversation. So I waited. 30 minutes passed, then an hour and a half. Nothing. When she finally showed up, she arrived in a taxi from the opposite direction with her sister and three mutual friends. Turns out she hadn't been with a friend around the corner. She'd been at a bar with them. And years later, I found out there had also been a long distance ex of hers there too, something she, of course, never mentioned to me. When she got out of the taxi, she was clearly drunk. That was the moment when something inside me clicked. I knew I shouldn't be in that relationship anymore. I told her straight up that I didn't want to continue. She refused to accept it. She cried, begged for another chance, insisted that I was the one who needed therapy because I didn't understand her. We spent about an hour arguing in the middle of the street, me repeating that I didn't want to continue, her putting on a full drama show. Her phone kept ringing. It was her sister. She had forgotten her house keys and was stuck outside waiting. At one point, her sister even told her, loud and clear, "Fur, if he's telling you he doesn't want anything, let him go." Suddenly, my ex switched into dignity mode. "Oh, okay, you're right, I understand. I'll let you go," etc. I turned around to leave, thinking, finally, it's over. As soon as I did, she started screaming and crying so loudly that her wailing could literally be heard 2 streets away. I'm not exaggerating. I'm pretty sure she was trying to use social pressure to make me feel guilty and stay. Still, I walked away. I left her there with her sister, who was mad at her for causing all that drama. In my head, that was the end. In reality, it was just the beginning. Enter Daniela. About a week later, I met a girl who worked at the shop across from mine. I wasn't looking for a relationship. I wasn't in the emotional place for that at all. But she was the one who started talking to me, flirting a bit, showing interest. At first, I tried to keep it as a friendship. I really didn't plan on getting into anything romantic so soon. but everything with her just flowed naturally. I'll call her Daniela. Daniela had everything. She was beautiful, intelligent, well read. We shared tons of interests and opinions. Falling in love with her was basically inevitable. About a month after my breakup with Fear, I was already dating Daniela. She was the first girlfriend I ever posted pictures with on social media, mostly because of her. I'm not the type who loves photos. And of course, those pictures found their way to Fear. In her mind, she created a whole story where I had broken up with her because I was cheating on her with Daniela. It wasn't true, but at that point, I didn't feel I owed her any explanations. The problem was that she started telling everyone that story, especially our mutual friends. Some people stopped talking to me. Honestly, I didn't care much. I thought, if they can't even ask for my side of the story, I don't need them around. 3 years went by. Daniela and I were still together. Our relationship was stable. During that time, I became the branch manager at my job. When I started, the store was making about 30,000 MXN a week. After a lot of work, we got to at least 270,000 per week. I was proud of what I'd built. I knew my reputation in the neighborhood wasn't great. Most people only knew Fur's version of events, but I figured that after 3 years, she would have gotten over it by now. Spoiler, she hadn't. One day, Daniela and I were at her place. She asked me to pass her phone. With face recognition, it accidentally unlocked on my face, and the screen opened directly on Fur's Facebook profile. I calmly asked her why she had Fur's profile open. She immediately got defensive and picked a fight. I tried to calm things down, so I told her everything that had happened with Fur to give her context. Daniela seemed to accept it, and for a moment I thought that was the end of it. But after that, tiny arguments started popping up, little things, small conflicts that we hadn't had in 3 years. I brushed it off as normal couple issues. After all, no relationship is perfect, right? I love Daniela very much. To this day, I can say she was that woman in my life. Guys will know what I mean. I was planning to propose. I had already bought a ring. I was saving money and thinking about how to do it. Then one day, she broke up with me. There was someone else. My life crashed. I fell into a deep depression. I stopped performing at work, and to make it worse, the pandemic hit. Sales plummeted, the store ended up closing, and I lost my job. I fell into bad habits and vices. It was a horrible period. Over time, very slowly, I started getting back up. I found a new job at a clothing store. I reconnected with some friends who eventually realized I hadn't been the villain in Fur's story. Some of them actually apologized to me for having judged me unfairly. I thought, okay, things are finally getting back on track. But Fur still wasn't out of the picture. The silent harassment. At my new job, one day, Fur walked into the store. She saw me, I saw her, and I chose to ignore her. I didn't want drama. I was chatting with a couple of my coworkers when I had to go to the back to get more clothes. When I came back out, my coworkers told me that while I was gone, Fur had made some comments about me. I told them not to pay attention to her, that she was someone from my past and not worth the energy. The next time she appeared in my life was about 2 years later at a friend's birthday. It was a small gathering, maybe 15 people tops. Someone brought her as a plus one. I felt uncomfortable, but I told myself, it's been years. Just act normal, be mature, and don't give it power. At that gathering, there was also a girl I was seeing at the time. At one point, some of us went to the store to buy drinks. When we came back, I noticed that this girl was acting a bit distant, off. I asked if something was wrong, and she said everything was fine. But after that day, she started drifting away and we stopped talking soon after. That kind of thing happened a couple more times with different girls. Everything was going fine, then Fur would appear at an event or somewhere near my circle, and suddenly things would cool down. At the time, I didn't connect the dots. I started to wonder if I was the problem. I even went to therapy, this time for real. to figure out what was going on with me. And then, just a few days ago, I finally saw the full picture. Minecraft, an ex-best friend, and the truth, I was playing Minecraft with a friend who used to be Fur's best friend, but they had stopped talking a while ago. In the middle of our conversation, she mentioned that she had cut Fur off because of a message Fur sent to Daniela. I froze. A what? I asked. That's when she started telling me everything. She said Fur never stopped talking about me. For years, she would go on and on about how I'd betrayed her, how I'd ruined her life, how hard it was for her to move on. She played the victim constantly. People around her were sick of hearing the same story. They told her she needed to move on, but she clung to this narrative like it was her identity. Then, my friend told me that one day, Fer admitted she had sent a direct message to Daniela, my girlfriend at the time. The message was basically, "Be careful with him, he cheated on me to be with you." Daniela never told me about that message, but as soon as I heard it, I remembered the day I saw Fer's profile open on her phone, the defensive reaction, the sudden problems after that, and it all started to make sense. I got angry, really angry, and I started digging a bit more. Turns out that wasn't the only thing she did. She had also spoken to my coworkers at the clothing store, telling them the same story, that I was a cheater, that they should be careful with me, especially if I tried anything romantic. At that birthday party where I was seeing that girl, Fur didn't just talk to her, she talked to several people there. She repeated the same invented story and then added an extra layer of lies. She told them I had physically abused her many times. That was next level. Last Christmas, with my current girlfriend, we went to a small gathering at a friend's house. Later, I found out through other people that Fur had also shown up, but left almost immediately after seeing me there with my girlfriend. Apparently, she said something like I was rubbing my relationship in her face. By this point, Fur is almost 30 years old. She has her own life. She had another partner. They moved in together, and they were expecting a baby. Sadly, the baby didn't make it. In other words, she had her own story. And still, she found ways to create drama around mine. A few months before I discovered all this, my current girlfriend got a friend request from Fear on social media. She didn't accept it because she doesn't usually add people she doesn't know, even if they have mutual friends. Now, knowing what Fair did to Daniela, it's hard not to think she was trying to pull the same stunt again. Get close, send a message, poison the relationship from the shadows. 7 years later, now, looking at everything in hindsight, I've realized that I've been dealing with harassment and defamation for 7 years without fully seeing it. She spread lies about why we broke up. She played the victim with everyone we knew. She messaged at least one of my girlfriends behind my back to warn her about me. She talked to my coworkers, girls I was dating, friends at parties. She added extra lies like, he hit me many times to make me look dangerous. All of this while I was just trying to move on with my life. I'm seriously considering gathering evidence, messages, testimonies, people willing to confirm what she's said and done, to see if there's any legal action I can take for defamation or harassment. I don't know yet if I'll actually go that route, but I'm done pretending this is nothing. I'm writing this fast because I needed to get it out of my system. This morning, I woke up overthinking everything. What could have been, relationships that might have ended because of her interference, the emotional damage I didn't understand at the time. Right now, I feel really anxious, angry, and sad, but putting this into words already feels like a small first step. For 7 years, I carried this as if I was the problem. Now I'm starting to see that I've been paying for a story someone else invented, and I don't want to carry that guilt anymore.